I feel like he rode that line, like you said. He was on the diving board. He didn't jump off.
Right. Yeah.
He said I was going to black out.
But if you're gonna do something, you're gonna do it. You don't have to threaten anybody.
Yeah,
with
so
that
that's
kind
a
of stuff.
situation where, like, man law could be violated. If your lady likes somebody else, and this was not the case, but if your lady does like somebody else, between you and your lady, not between you and that man.
Like my man Fillmore Slim says.
So what actually,
chose-
we obviously established some things that are different, like in genders that are okay and not okay, depending, to generalize. So what sets a tone for these gender rules? Like, is it society? Is it culturally based? Is it based on
It's the universe.
age?
It's nature.
Because that came up today.
It's
today
complete.
too.
It's just going back.
Definitely not true.
Just going back
it's
to what-
not nature.
No,
It's got to be
it's-
cultural.
no.
It's gotta be
culture. It's
things.
people. Like
It's
just what
cultural
Sherrod
in
said.
society.
If we were having dinner, she just said it. We were having dinner and wine together. She would think we was some body
And
boys,
that's
some
based,
punks.
yeah,
Body
and that's,
boys.
that's based on the society and the
Ain't nobody
culture that
biting
I
her
live
hair.
in.
Yeah, I think two men should be able to eat good food and drink good drink and not be questioned about their sexuality.
So let me pose a question. So
You should move
speaking
to a
of
different city then.
sexuality and young men. Right now, you have some very popular rap stars who kind of blur the lines of man law,
They've crossed
Woman
that.
law.
It ain't even.
Young Thug, Rich Homie Quan,
Lil Wayne.
Brown.
Chris
wow.
Brown. I didn't even think about adding him to the list. Like,
Doing
do
all
you,
that punk shit on Twitter and all that.
so where do you think that comes from? Like the difference between like the stars we have,
Young boys.
music
Them,
thing?
all those people you said are all young. They haven't been learned.
But they not that young.
Do
Birdman
you think
is
has to
older
do with
than
them
all
not
of
having
us.
fathers at home, or
No, they just-
where does that come from?
They probably got touched when they was little and like in some crazy way by a
Really?
man who was influential.
Wow.
Well,
I'm saying Birdman repeated that behavior.
that's a rough one right there.
Hey, but shout out.
All the way left at that moment. Excuse you.
I was gonna try to cover it up, but I
Apparently,
Yeah,
Young
I'm
Thug got
going
touched.
with
So,
You know?
Well,
Well, and that goes to the next point about the younger generation having the blurred lines of woman and man laws, and
Yeah, they.
some of those things include, which would
Bitch-assness.
totally not be okay probably to this demographic of men, but for example, skinny jeans.
yeah, I have a son that wears skinny jeans.
No, but and he's also how old?
He's
and that's
12.
okay at 12. But I want to know what this demographic feels about skinny jeans.
It depends on how skinny them joints are. Some of them joints are woman skinny leggings.
No,
Yeah.
not leggings.
Jeggings.
Just skinny.
I feel worse about
That's
the
good.
sagging than the actual skinniness.
I'm 6'3", 265. My big ass can't get no motherfucking skinny jeans.
yeah, I'm about the same size. It doesn't work well for me ever.
Yeah, I mean, when I see skinny jeans, I'm cool with something that fits. But people know when they go in there and giving off of them female pheromones. But like some skinny jeans, like if they fit. Okay, for instance, when I was in high school, like what they're doing is copying the '80s. Like that's what's happening. Like if you look at
We used to roll our jeans up.
man,
and
get them
do the
tapered,
thing.
like all that.
Skater
Like that.
thing,
That's what was happening.
Man,
Like
we
you know,
did
so
that.
like I'm not totally mad at like all skinny jeans. It's just when some dude, when dudes trying to show their booty.
It's
That
the- it's
like I
the-
mean, with
Now,
their
that
booty,
is the biggest problem. That's sagging
Demasculation
stuff.
is the.
it's too
Well-
much. It's too much going on sometimes. But like I'm not mad at like the cycle of fashion. Because
I'm
straight
with
up,
you.
if you
I'm
look,
with you, Grindstone.
if you look at what 1988 looked like if you just look at that, if you just like
It was really
I wasn't
tight in
looking at
88.
anything in 88.
it was just look. I mean, you can
Sesame
see
Street.
like people who I see walking across the street. I could like flash back, and I'm like, damn, that's just what like the haircut to the shoes to the jeans, like all that is the same. So they're kind of mimicking something.
They just don't have the jukebox, the boom box on
Right,
the
right,
shoulder.
Right.
You know.
So I mean, like skinny jeans do take it too far. Dudes with
But
high heels in person.
Is
they
some of
take
that
it
shit in
extremely too
violation
far.
of man
That's
code?
way
I
too
say
far.
yes.
Yeah, a lot of it is.
But
That
their man
sagging
code,
especially-
code is different than our man code because we're older.
Well, I was told
but
by a young woman today that there are no men left to check what's going on now in the male culture.
Damn.
So like it's just rampant right now because like ain't no man like they not. And I don't want to put down the young dudes.
Were you
out there.
offended by that statement?
No, I wasn't offended. That was an interesting observation from a young woman, saying that like she was like there are no men. Like
she was how young was she?
I think 26.
Okay.
Which ain't, we done call 26 young. 26 ain't even young, but I'm saying, like, she was young. In your 20s, you going through, like, a lot of experimental stuff. And I just think that,
Absolutely.
like,
Does she have a father?
I don't know.
Well, the reason why I ask
Why?
the reason why I ask is because
Clinical side.
she gets her idea and concept of manhood from someone, so she has a baseline to draw from, right? So like this is the blueprint of what I deem manhood or men.
Well,
And-
her
He's
her
exactly right.
point was it's a lot of beach ass niggas out here.
Right. Well, I agree.
Beach ass niggas.
It's the-
Okay,
the
so then
blurred
what about
lines.
what about the idea of like how? So we already kind of agreed like generationally, there's something to do with man law, woman that changes. So what about how children are groomed, like as far as the differences between the way that boys are groomed to become men and women being groomed as girls? Does that have something to do with it?